Education was the blood that circled in his veins, I think. He was always interested in what are we doing with our kids? What are we doing with our kids?
The principal, Mr. Byers, called me in to say that he wanted me in first grade. Never been in a first grade classroom. He said, you don't have any worries because I'm going to assign some seasoned teachers with you. At the end of that year, I was sold on first grade.
And I remember my class wrapping the maypole. Don't hear that nowadays, but we wrapped the maypoles around that time, and it was so much fun.
My name is Thelma Byers Bailey, and my dad is Walter G. Byers. Where do I start? He moved us to Charlotte. I was still in diapers at the time, so Charlotte is the only home I've ever known. Apparently the board here was looking to replace Marie G. Davis, who had been the principal of this all-black elementary school here in Charlotte. He started there and he was principal of that school for at least 3 generations.
Walter G. Byers was a principal at Fairview School many years ago, long before Charlotte-Mecklenburg became a desegregated school district. Charlotte was 2 school systems, in fact, Charlotte City Schools and Mecklenburg County Schools. Mr. Byers, Principal Byers, was one of our early principals in a segregated school district.
We moved to Charlotte from Georgia when I was 6 months old. Fairview was a part of the Greenville neighborhood. Walter Byers was the principal then. I imagine he was just starting out being principal at that time.
He was very strong about young boys being trained for manhood and how to present themselves. And he would sit down with the family and say, now this is what has happened. And this is not what we expect of him. And then they would get the family around that young man to say, we are in agreement with what Mr. Byers wants for you.
We didn't have many discipline problems. If we did have discipline problems, at that time, the parents were cooperative and they took care of the problems.
He had high expectations of his teachers. He reminded us that this was our job. We needed to come looking professional. And to me, he seemed like a father.
He and my mother had a wicked sense of humor. Yeah. And they really enjoyed each other's company. They wanted to sit around the table and visit and talk and laugh and tell jokes, and it was boring to me.
With the growth that we were experiencing in the early 90s, mid-90s, we were receiving probably 3,000 to 4,000 students per year into the Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. And we had an opportunity to reflect and honor some of the African-Americans, real stellar African-Americans that played significant roles in education in Mecklenburg County. But Walter G. Byers stood out, and the Board of Education selected Walter G. Byers for the name of that particular school.
Many people in the community, as a matter of fact, that I talked with that couldn't get to the meetings. And then they said, but we will sign a petition if that would help, to share our opinion. And that was submitted to the Board of Education as well. So they got a full view of what the community wanted.